Yes, that's exactly right, Tom. We are almost at the halfway point of the promo series here for the PEL. And again, back to Erangel for the final match of the day, coming off of the heels of the Reciprocity victory. And I mean, Cameron, a different playing path, but again, one worth talking about.
Still really, really bad. Erangel is not being polite to its teams. Bad plane path equals South Africa Island circle into another bad plane. It's
bad plane path in this map might be a Stalber circle. We'll have to see how that.
We could only wish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, as spectators, that's for sure. But as our players depart the cargo hold of the airplane, they will be trying to find those loot locations that'll fit their needs. Some teams will definitely have to make some shifts, as we're already seeing Riddle Esports pulling off towards Zarky.
Is that Ferrari Breach landing on North George with
you bet it is.
AVANGAR and North George is one of the longest lasting relationships between team and loot spot that we've seen in just Western PUBG. So this is some pretty ballsy work by Ferrari Breach.
It definitely is, and they're already starting to clash as you see the shots coming from east to west. I believe Ferrari Breach is going to be the team actually applying the pressure onto AVANGAR for the time being. But all teams have departed out of the cargo hold. Zoekt and Naam actually going to be kind of scouted out here by Vitality. Not going to be dropping on to Pachinki. Instead, Vitality continuing on towards school and apartments. These oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, okay.
That was, Cameron, that was one of the evilest laughs I've ever heard, and I couldn't agree more, because look at this circle all the way down to Sosnovka Island. If there was any question in the previous game as to where that circle was going to go, game number 5 of the day, game number 10 of this promo series leaves no question in the minds of these teams. Down to Sosnovka they will be heading, and it's really going to be a race for those prime positions.
We should ask Dave after this game how audible the groans were in the player booths.
We could probably even ask the desk, because you could probably hear them from all the way over there.
So let's see if anyone learned anything from last game. There is... So unless we see a drastic hard shift down towards the south of this circle, there's going to be more play area in earlier on. But nonetheless, it's still... not many people like military circles.
Because they're not easy. I mean, that's really the thing. It's not a convenient location for the majority of the map, as you're already seeing that shape up right now. And it really comes down to how can teams safely make those rotations. And Cameron, you mentioned, hopefully those teams learned something from game number 4, where we had a similar circle. But in this game, with such a different plane path, we see drop locations incredibly different, specifically North Georgia and Zarky, and those are going to maybe put some obstacles in front of these teams as they make those rotations down to the south.
Yeah, luckily for Riddle, they were the first ones out of the plane, because that's where the plane started, but they are going to have to start to move fast. And oh, wow, what a nice initial shot from Inuctive onto Oko. So this fight has been just a lot of tension in North George building up for a while, and Oko, I'm pretty sure he was just kind of chilling by himself, because the rest of his team is on the opposite end of North George.
Really amidst danger and no friends in sight, AVANGAR going to be playing this fairly passively, though they expect that other members of the Ferrari Breach squad will be in this area. After a few moments, though, of feeling no return fire, Inuctive and his teammate, Maxazor, will flush into the building and find the first kill of the game.
I just want to know if that's Ferrari Breach being like really shady onto AVANGAR and just, hey, AVANGAR, they're at the bottom of the leaderboard. That must mean easy kills.
Yeah, but again, it kind of leaves the question, you know, did they expect AVANGAR to go there? And, you know, who knows?
Yes, it's AVANGAR in North George.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Of course they did.
It's certainly interesting, and there's the flush going to be coming out as Oko exits out of the game. The first player to depart here from the 5th and final game of day number 2. As we pop over to Severny, looking at the members of Quickmath again. Quickmath had the longest rotation by a long shot of any team in the previous game with this military island circle. Expect them to take a similar route here in game number 5.
Yeah, if they were like super 200, 300 IQ meta map awareness, they would be able to take the estimated guess that Lipovka and Milta Power were not looted up and could be able to find boats that way. That might be a solution that they could look for. On the other end of things, Tornado Energy, I spotted this out earlier on. When the circle popped, they were still trying to make their way to Milta, and so instead they only sent 2 that way, and actually 2 immediately, similar to what NoTech did the previous game, immediately went on to Sosnovka Island to grab an initial spot for them to play around.
I love the different play strategies that we're seeing these teams, and boy, based off of the different obstacles that are presented, in these very unique games that we have seen played out over the course of this tournament so far. Popping into boats, both teams, Beşiktaş as well as Desperados, on the west and centralized portions of the channel, will be making their trek down south to hopefully find a position to call home.
We're seeing very similar rotations, of course, because even though the circle is a little different, the plane path is a little different, it is still most teams from their loot spot going to Military Island. Desperados crossing in with the boat from the north. Beşiktaş, they're not rotating all the way from the Stalbert, but they're still taking a boat from Primorsk. And then you have No Tag, GamerLegion, Northern Lights. All those teams, and even Zen, are taking like the exact same spots.
Yeah, I mean, PG-18 doing the exact same thing. Not the Primorsk boat that they're picking up, but the West Coast boat that they will be securing and making that far rotation. I would expect PG-18 to find themselves landing on the southern coast of Sosnovka as Riddle makes their rotation now over towards the east, running along that very northern highway out of Zarki. It's going to be a long rotation for them, but hopefully they're able to find at least a cross.
Hope they have meds. That's really all I can say. They're going to be eating at least a little bit of blue. And that's if they don't come across any opposition on the path over.
That's a good point. I'm going to be looking to see how Reciprocity responds to this again after that victory in the previous game. Cameron, you mentioned it to me off break. A lot of pressure kind of falling off of the shoulders, and it wasn't just from the massage of the coach onto Scoom. It's really because of the amount of points that they are amassing here in these games.
Ooh, watch this. Unity, they're actually trying to put pressure on this bridge. They didn't do it the previous game because it was so westward. They didn't find it important to do, but this time around, with it basically being dead center on the island, they're trying to watch for anyone crossing. Not across the bridge this time. It's going to be a boat. But I believe that's Orange Snow that actually has the angle onto Tornado Energy, and a couple of teammates are arriving behind. He's not taking the shot just yet. He's waiting for backup to be in a position to fully execute and to fully take advantage. Oh, well, he's shooting off. You can see that on the minimap.
He is starting to pop off. Possibly waited a little bit too long. I felt like those shots were incredibly open for him on the slope of that coastal region on the northern side of Sosnovka. Riddle continues on here. No frags going to be coming out between either Tornado Energy or Unity for the meantime as the rest of the lobby starts to make their way down south. It looks like the members of PG-18 are going to be at least riding along that far southern coast. Looks like they weren't able to find as many boats as they had hoped, and 7 is lining up on the east coast of Primorsk, looking to do the exact same thing. I believe popping into some boats will be able to find their way over towards Sosnovka, where some action is popping off. I believe GamerLegion put some shots into the members of Zoekt and Naam.
Yeah, everyone's just, still trying to establish their position, but again, it's looking very, very similar to the previous game. The only team that stands out as being drastically different is going to be Reciprocity, because they actually had a lot further distance to travel to their loot spawn this time around. And so they're only just now getting into their vehicles to leave. I hope, again, as well for them, I hope they have the meds, because they're actually behind Quickmath, outside of Scoom, who could maybe try and look for some damage on a rotator. But that might be asking for too much trouble this early in the game. They don't want to get involved into a fight in the blue. Simsy, though, he is perfectly fine taking some shots on a rotating T-bone.
Definitely in a position to try to capitalize on some kills. Zoekt and Naam going to be finding a place to call home here on the southwestern corner of Sosnovka Island. PG-18 starting to enter off the west, 7 trying to do the same. But Zoekt and Naam going to be fairly content with where they find themselves just past the 8-minute mark of this game. You can see now 7 approaching that western coast, and we'll be making landfall. All 4 members going to be popping out of the boat, now starting to at least climb up the cliffs to find a home.
And this is actually where PG-18 landed last game. PG-18 have a faster rotation this time around, but 7, there's a big possibility that 7 just straight up beat PG-18 for where they wanted to go. They both were taking their boats parallel to each other, and so 7 could also use this opportunity to try and keep PG-18 off, but they're PG-18, for their own merit, are doing a wide rotation around to avoid that.
Yeah, and again, when you are rotating at this stage of the game where PG-18 isn't going to be super late, the South Coast is going to be a good entry. And there it is, Phase 2 shift comes out, and shift is kind of the wrong word for it, because it went really nowhere. It's centered up on where Phase 1 was centered, and no team's going to have to make drastic repositions. Still, though, those beginning transitions coming off of our teams far to the north, Quickmath and Reciprocity lined up parallel to each other still. And then the members of Ferrari Breach just now making their way past Yasnaya Fields. It's going to continue on to be a very difficult task for Rezu to try to make their way down to Sosnovka.
I'm surprised that Ferrari Breach are still this far out in the blue. The only player, Oko I believe it was, that got taken out of North George, he was the only player who didn't have the freedom to loot in North George.
Yes.
And so, but it looks like the way that they're moving around is that they're still struggling for loot. You see Washout is in ruins. They're all just spread around. So I'm really surprised that they're not just trying to get into the circle.
The rotation will be ending here, at least the initial rotation for PG-18 as they make landfall on the southern coast of Sosnovka. Vitality going to be rolling around here. It looks like they're on the list a little bit northeast, off center on the hillside, possibly in a position to scout out the members of Tornado Energy here soon if they're able to spawn out maybe Alyag. And it's going to be Melman that ends up showing his head. A few shots coming out from Krema and Jazza. It's going to be the SKS and Mini 14 and Tandem 7.62 rounds and 5.56 trying to find their target. One tag going to be coming out, but just pressure being applied.
They're basically, if you find the opening knock, you're going to push in on this. But Vitality are quite spread out. They don't want to commit too heavily onto this sort of cliffside. But Riddle have arrived across the bridge themselves, coming all the way from Zarky, making a nice, uneventful rotation. But Shadow opens up, gets the first knock onto Alyag. Almost had the opportunity to find a second onto Melman.
And the question becomes, will we see the Vitality push? They're all pounding into vehicles right now, and the other three members of Vitality are full sending it. Yes, they are going to be supporting Shadow here as he faces off continually against the members of Tornado Energy. Vitality bombing right into the members, though, of this squad. And that's going to be the first knock coming out of this re-engagement. Nasus pleased with the M416, the DP28 going to be securing the kill onto Melman. One more member of the squad down, but now Vitality opens themselves up to the third party coming out from Unity, able to find the knock. Blast on with the Mini 14 onto Nasus please.
That looked to be a really long shot from Blast on. It's actually Orange Snow as the close player. The bottom right, it's Beşiktaş actually in an engagement with no tag. So people are trying to fight for space a lot earlier on this time around, even though there's more play area to fight over.
Beşiktaş able to find 2 kills in that engagement right there, keeping all 4 alive. That's definitely the kind of pickup that you want to be getting at 2-4-0 as you continue on here around the northwestern side of the actual military base. No one, again, wanting to advance, picking up a little bit of loot, a nice utility infusion as we break into the mid-game. At the 12-minute mark, Reciprocity has departed off of the cliffs. They did the exact same scout as they did in the previous game. It paid off for them then, and it could pay off for them here as Hexete makes landfall. Will be the point position, looking out for any opponents that could spot out Raffi and Shiv.
So we can see that there's no one really in front of them, but it's questionable how much information they were able to gather from that cliff before they swam across. And because swimming takes such a long amount of time, things could also change in the meantime no matter what they saw. Quickmath on the north side of that eastern bridge actually going to be pulling back. They saw Riddle's camp, and they don't want any of that, but they're going to be driving directly into Ferrari Breach, and while they do that, the circle is going to hard shift northwest. This is great for AVANGAR, Beşiktaş, and Reciprocity.
Yep, all 3 of those teams are definitely going to be loving it. Teams down to the south might be feeling some hurt as they try to make their way up north, and Riddle definitely could be colliding with the likes of Vitality or Tornado Energy, who also could be rotating towards the northern side to avoid conflict. As Unity makes their way into the southern side of the circle. Shots from the hillside from the members of PG-18 trying to find their connections, but it's going to be Northern Lights on the broken down plains that ends up finding Tizzer, and the knock off of the motorcycle will be effectuated by Perfect with the SLR. And then the headshot for the Mini 14 flushes out and secures the kill.
Caleb also trying to do some damage. Unity, they tried to find someplace, and they're taking a lot of damage on their rotation. Driving across this plain graveyard is very risky because it's so wide open, and Caleb has basically an open shot. The distance, of course, is going to help protect them a little bit. Leading in this game is still not that easy on a fast-moving vehicle, but they've already taken 1 casualty. There's the worry that Blaston was going to fall as well, but they are going to be able to find their way into the center of the military base.
All these military island circles just get me excited for the revamp of Erangel coming out, where that base is going to change a lot.
Yeah,
Ferrari Breach still in the blue zone, able to spot out the members of Quickmath, trying to make the rotations. Rezu taking down 2 damage per tick from the blue as Riddle holds on in a very aggressive choke onto the southern side of the eastern bridge. That's going to be Peltz tagged down and out. Hannibal with a nice M416 connection and a flush coming out from Yort as the other members of Quickmath quickly going to be diverting off of this. Tuho Juho tries to jump off the bridge, but unfortunately doesn't hit the water. Instead hits sand, which at that distance, Cameron, can almost feel like concrete. He's really regretting it now.
Hey, well, okay. Doesn't deny the point, unfortunately. Yort went to go secure that kill. Riddles are staying very, very long in the blue to camp that bridge. They knew that there was at least 1 team. The question is, do they know that Ferrari Breach are about to cross as well? They may not be that aware. And so they actually have their eyes set on the circle. But Edukaz and Rezu, they are still in the blue. Still in the blue this entire time. They've been playing, I think, close to like 9 minutes at this point
Yeah.
in the blue alone.
And teams that were further away from them have already secured positions inside of this phase.
In like the center of the circle, AVANGAR.
It's absolutely insane right here, and you have to wonder what is going on with this Ferrari Breach squad. What kept them at base so long? It couldn't have been that first frag because they didn't have to deal with it, Cameron. Like you said, they had free reign to loot the eastern side of North George Bowl. It should have been a quick rotation for them as they at least get closer and closer to the edge of this phase number 3 circle. Nasus Please from Vitality going to be lighting up the kill feed. Riddle Esports, Zinsen going to be spotted out in that rotation in the blue zone, bleeding out.
Yeah, and so this is the downside of them sticking in the blue so long for that camp. They have 0 priority coming in. They've only lost 1 player so far, but the rest are driving what seems to be directly into Reciprocity. But PG-18, they're in the blue as well, and they're shooting at Ferrari Breach, who are just trying to get out of the blue.
I know, and with low HP, only a few shots will be needed to find connections. Washout can be feeling the hurt. Diaz with a long-range connection to be had here as Washout gets flushed down by the Mini-14 of Nail-Up. Looking for even more here. PG-18 going to be trying to maybe get up on the hill and see if they can spot out Rezu.
The blue
get the lines of
damage.
sight. It's not going to be enough. Ferrari Breach goes down to the blue as Rezu exits out of the game. Our first team to be eliminated in the final game of day number 2.
So Naam coming really close to an interesting split by GamerLegion. Hamster taking a lot of damage already, but the full push in. He's got the spray down. Doesn't get one knock before he's immediately taken out by Vazku. The rest of GamerLegion are up onto the north, and I believe it's still 3 of them up. So this shouldn't be too big of a concern for them.
Northeastern side, though, looking a little bit tricky as the remaining members of Riddle Esports getting absolutely pinched in between Reciprocity and Vitality, 2 of our PEL teams, both trying to avoid relegation, both having very, very successful performances over the course of these 2 days. Spray coming out, Clib not able to find the connection. Shadow 1K instead with a quick flick of the M416, finds it onto Clib. Another member of Riddle goes down as they're able to find the trade, at least onto Jazza. Clib going to be flushed out of the game. Kramer going to be sided out by Hannibal, who's trying to find the connection. He's going to be able to do so, but it's unfortunately not going to be enough. Riddle Esports out in 15th as they go down to the third party coming out from Coldamenta, Desperado.
The amount of logos that were in that kill feed show you how tricky of a situation they found themselves in. But I think Riddle, I forget the player was, opened up onto the member of Vitality way too early.
Yes, without the support.
Yeah, there wasn't an easy line up to get the quick spray down. It was maybe like the top half of the head that was showing, and he was waiting for the rest of Vitality to pass through. I feel like if you waited for them to fully cross, and then, oh my god! Hexetti, okay!
Well, that's probably the biggest rivalry that we have here in this tournament.
It's the biggest
Reciprocity.
nade, too.
Yeah, the biggest nade coming out as well. Insane play coming out for Hexetti, who picks up 4. 5 in the pocket for Reciprocity. As they look on, they've got her PG-18 rather pinned down on the array tower, who are trying to find the res. Reciprocity, they're not giving up, Cameron. You know, first place doesn't matter to them.
Nah, it's not enough. They need triple digits at the end of the first day.
That's right. Come back into phase 3 with quickness. But again, it's not secure just yet. Day number 2 is just about to end, and we've got 2 more days of 5 games per day as Desperados now are in the sights of Reciprocity. Raffi able to pick up another kill with the SKS. And possibly even a kill steal as Coldamenta will try to avoid the lines of sight from Tornado Energy's example.
Diaz crawling along. PG-18 did not have a successful rotation from the south into the military island, and he is the only one remaining, but no tag versus Zoekt and Naam versus GamerLegion. Everyone's trying to fight for this small little corner compound that's in the corner of the circle. Revives coming in from both duos.
Means a lot for Zoekt and Naam to be able to recover off of this engagement. They are seeking for those big wins that they at least showed us on day number 1. And we'll see if they're going to be able to get it. Raffi going to be lined up. If he knew how much HP that Raffi had, Diaz would have definitely taken that shot with the SLR, but continues to remain undetected on the northern side of the array tower. Just a bush going to be concealing him. No hard cover to work off of, except for maybe a little bit of a fence post.
Yeah,
that
hardly counts.
Let's be real. It's pretty much just do or die, and the do is be patient.
The reason he didn't take the shot is because Raffi was right next to the tree. Even if he dropped him super, super quick, there was a possibility that Raffi could crawl behind the tree. And Desperados are so close, they would have heard that shot, and he would have been easily taken out. So there wasn't even the guarantee of the 1 kill onto Raffi.
Approaching the 20-minute mark of game number 10 of the promo tournament. 13 teams remain, 38 players alive. And Zoekt and Naam has been able to at least recover somewhat. They've got T-Bone and Page alive in this building just to the south of where Gibbet and O'Connell of no tag team are going to be holding on. But just across the street, about 30 meters separating them, is going to be a few of the members of GamerLegion taking shots.
This compound is still in the circle. It was a medium shift towards the west actually basically fully removed from the military base itself. It's just this hilltop in the dead center. But Calvin Klein, not in the circle just yet. Desperados staring down Reciprocity, who are trying to get into the circle themselves. They lost Raffi to Desperados. And so they're going to be trying to retreat away. And GamerLegion, they're just trying to keep these two other squads in this corner pinned down. Ivo hasn't been able to move a single inch.
No, definitely a mass exodus coming out of the military base proper area, as Unity going to be lighting up the kill feed onto Compote of Tornado Energy. And with the blue zone moving in, Example's not going to have a big window of opportunity to support his teammate. Instead, will have to push on as a solo player into the garage structures where Recurrent and Orange Snow are still holding. They're expecting the push to come out from Example. It really comes down to whether or not this player for Tornado Energy can find a knock onto one of the members of Unity.
It's going to be a rough push for him because he's quite a far distance away. He's just going to go for the fight, trying to go for the points, but doesn't get the first knock. Coldamenta, though, he gets a nice knock and a finish onto Blaston.
Unity getting pinched now in between Desperados in the blue zone. More shots coming out. Example able to find the knock onto Calvin Klein, but goes out to the blue zone himself. Tornado Energy eliminated in 13th place position. Coldamenta, though, still on the prowl, trying to spot out the members of Unity. Haxete goes down. AVANGAR in a bit of a split on the northern side of the circle will be taking advantage of the Rec Pack transition from the northeast.
Yeah, and Orange Snow, they're still in the fight with Desperados, trying to keep the invaders out. It's going to be a 1v1 because Recurrent is bleeding out. It's not going to be an easy revive for him, but Fake does drop Orange Snow, and that's going to be Unity out in 11th place. Only a quick second after Quickmath themselves got removed.
Team starting to drop like flies at this stage in the game. PG-18 going to be going down in 10th place. You saw Diaz, that solo player, trying to stay alive, was not able to push far enough into the placements to secure any placement points. Shiv goes down and out. AVANGAR continues to spell disaster for Reciprocity to the north, but now Desperado trying to work off of that hard eastern flank is not going to be able to proceed in this game. Out in 9th place, they go to the hands of the Northern Lights, who are now under fire by Scoom, the solo player left for Reciprocity after a massive amount of pressure, massive amount of kills in the early game. Scoom is now left as the solo player to try to push his squad as far as possible.
I can only assume that Scoom got spotted by Quizzy, because otherwise, why would he take that fight as the solo remaining player? He's at least able to finish the first kill before the rest of the teammates arrive, and actually deals a little bit of damage onto Deep with more nades. But nonetheless, this should be an easy enough cleanup for Northern Lights. I say that. AVANGAR actually heard that engagement and pushed over. You can see that onto the minimap. But now that the circle has shifted away from this corner compound, this puts even more pressure onto GamerLegion, onto NoTag, onto Zoekt and Naam to finally make something of this engagement.
And there it is. Northern Lights Deep with Frag Grenade will be spotting out Scoom, and out goes Reciprocity in 8th place position in the final game of the day. Game number 10 of the tournament. AVANGAR pushes on, though, and a very good and strong hold on the eastern side of the circle, looking to keep Northern Lights from having an easy rotation across from military base up this wide open hill.
They're trying to, because they know people are going to be leaving the military base, and so they're giving up position in the circle for the opportunity for more kills. 7 those going to drop Bocano, Macindark drops Ivil. It's not even just those 3 teams that are actually taking part in this corner compound fight.
The 2 members of Northern Lights trying to exit out of Sosnovka proper will be facing off against a lot of resistance. Okay, bro, going down, but perfect. Able to enter into the circle dangerously nearby to the members of AVANGAR as his 2 remaining players are bleeding out on their knees behind him. He's got to do something here. No team tag. 2 alive. Pop out of the building. Try to get the spray down on a GamerLegion. But they're going to be taken out almost immediately thereafter in 7th place position. And the Zoekt and Naam swarm starts to at least come out into the building. They go. Do they know that a member of GamerLegion is inside the bathroom? Yes, they do, and they know that he was trying to get the med off. They heard it, and GamerLegion exits out of the game in 6th place. 5 teams remaining, 15 players alive. That's a 3-player per team average that we were working off of. And Beşiktaş find themselves in a very similar position that they did in game number 1 on Miramar with a very good compound.
Ooh, good nade from AVG to finish off Northern Lights. Perfect. He almost was able to sneak his way in, but AVG, they weren't going to let it up. They know they didn't finish off the entirety of Northern Lights, and they wanted to finish off the snake. They didn't want any backstab to come in, but now that they have done so, they're the only ones on top of this hill. Beşiktaş, though, as you mentioned, in a nice compound. I can imagine only few kills. We haven't seen a lot of them so far this game, but this is a good position. It's actually an even stronger position than the first round.
Beşiktaş is going to be a little bit split off here as AVANGAR tries to approach the hill, almost the counter position for this crossroads location that Beşiktaş has been holding for the better part of the mid to late game. 4 teams remain. It's going to be Beşiktaş versus AVANGAR versus 7 versus a solo, or rather duo, for the likes of Zoekt and Naam. Down from the south, Zoekt and Naam going to be putting out some shots, trying to find some connections onto 7. You can see the tracers in the distance. As Beşiktaş just soaks up this information, they don't have to shift until this next phase just came out.
I knew right when I said that this was a stronger position than game 1 that the next circle was going to shift off of it. I knew I was about to put my own foot in my mouth. And so now, this is a really weak position, because how do you push onto 7 from this? At least AVANGAR and Zoekt and Naam, whoever wins this, can crawl around, breaking. Actually, I don't even know if they can. 7 just have line of sight onto basically everyone. Beşiktaş at least have a corner of this compound that's still in the circle, but 7 are the ones with the power position, with the compound to get kills from. Not just win, to get the kills.
7 going to be looking down to the southwest, trying to spot out the likes of Zoekt and Naam. Looks like they have at least spotted T-Bone and Page. The shot's going to be coming out as AVANGAR's split still remains undetected on the base of the hillside just over to the east. But a firing squad once again presented for 7, similar to what we saw on the hillside in the previous game, trying to utilize that firing squad position to really spell disaster for these teams. In phase number 7, 1:15 on the clock as the blue zone starts to work its way in towards this circle. Teams now going to be pressured. T-Bone, Zoekt and Naam at least taking blue zone damage and also facing off against AVANGAR. Maxazor's shots from the M24 right in front of him. And this could be all she wrote. It's going to be too late. Yes, indeed. Zoekt and Naam going to be going down in 4th place.
They had to get at least 1 knock, preferably multiple knocks on AVANGAR in order to be able to push out from the blue. Wasn't going to happen. Even when they stuck, just kept on the angle, it wasn't going to happen, and they fell down to the blue. And now AVANGAR, they got to find their own way into the circle, but they don't have a compound. They're actually going to have to drop down a ridge. Azrin taking a lot of damage.
Win condition for AVANGAR. East shift for phase number 8. That is what they absolutely want to see. If it doesn't shift that way, they're going to hope that at least the distraction between the battles between Beşiktaş and 7 distract those teams long enough for them to push across to the west. Starting to prep for that moment right now, though, getting the boost rolling, trying to at least maximize that HP before the 15-second shift comes out.
There's a crate in the dead center of the circle as well.
Which
it's in the middle of the road,
Here's
though.
the thing. I want to talk about that because beyond what that crate contains, it also now changes the layout of this area of the map.
Yes.
It gives a slight bit of cover, perhaps just a last-ditch effort for AVANGAR to find some safety.
Ooh, but the shift is going to go 7's way. But Beşiktaş, they got a knock onto a member of 7. The revive is coming through. But that could have been an opportunity. They haven't been able to push up too far from it, though. But because they're distracted by AVG, they want to get these points there because they know that even with that knock, the fight against 7 was unreliable, and they see the smokes out from the CIS team, and they want to remove them. They want to collect those points, but it's too late. The rush is going to come in. They actually got another knock onto 7 before it happened, but a refrag out, a second one onto Simzy. Simzy gets finished.
Beşiktaş getting absolutely ripped through right now as they try to aggressively push onto 7. 7 holding very well from this compound that has been significant for them throughout the late game. Nades now coming out onto AVANGAR. Will be finding its connection onto Azvarin as he gets dropped down and out. 7 now in a 3-way engagement with the other 2 remaining teams in this fight.
Follow with Nade's going to finish that kill for them. It's just Maxazor left, and he's running across the road. The spray comes out through the trees. Not too many hit.
Oh, but he needed one more shot in the magazine to find it. Unfortunately, had to hit the reload, and that gave Maxazor the opportunity to at least get to the base of the hillside.
Hardly an opportunity because we saw the nades come in immediately, but the push from Beşiktaş is going to come out once again. Look at all these smokes!
Oh, I know. It's certainly laying the battlefield down, trying to set whatever concealment for the members of Beşiktaş to work off of that they need desperately here in this. It's a 3v3 as one of the members, the 4th member of the 7 squad, continues to bleed out. It's going to be Crab. And the push comes out. Tommel able to cross the road through that smoke concealment. Going to be dipping down into the loot crate, pick up a little bit more ammo, a little bit more utility, as they definitely just deployed all that they had. Ultra, though, able to find another frag. Francario going to be going down and out. This leaves it now to a 3v2, but with how much damage both Tommel and Ultra took in that engagement, they had to reset just a little bit. They had to get some meds rolling. And just on the other side of this wall, inside of the shack, will be one of the members of this 7 squad.
I don't know if Beşiktaş doesn't know that Edelweiss is in that little shack or not more. And it's come out. There's a little bit in Ultra, but doesn't get the knock. Frank, though, bleeds out, making it a 3-on-3. And just looking at the positioning, somehow Beşiktaş stole priority away from 7. 7 may still have more compounds, but Tommel's angle specifically onto the center of the circle gives Beşiktaş a huge opportunity. The only thing that I can see being a real factor swinging it back towards 7's way is Edelweiss.
Yeah, Edelweiss is really in the position to contest against the likes of Beşiktaş. He's as center as possible, at least for the 7 squad, as Crab and Busta just try to at least get some pre-fires on the corners of the shack, where Lux and Ultra are at least starting to advance, playing this not as passively as you would have thought here in these late-game moments. But Beşiktaş are looking to take down at least a bookend victory. They started the day with a win and are looking to close it out with a victory here on Erangel, but they have not secured it just yet. It's still going to be fairly even up 3v3.
Spots the head of Buster, goes for the peek, but no full commit from either team right now. The smokes are coming out to try and press for the center because the blue is closing in and it's almost halfway done.
Minute and 30 seconds on the clock. Tomo continues to hold the right side corner of that building, where he expects the members of 7 to be departing. Buster just continuing to try to put out some shots. Everyone trying to flush the other out behind from the cover from which they are currently holding on to, because there's really no pressure other than the blue zone. And with how slow it's currently moving and with the centralized positions of both of these teams, it's really going to come down to the final few seconds.
Crab is able to sneak a little closer with the help from Buster's distraction, but they're going to need to leave the compound shortly. Lux is also going to have to leave. The push comes out from Edelweiss, though. He's made his position known. He's actually a nice spray down from onto Ultra. Barely spotted, but Tomo on the side flank.
But here's the thing. The members of Beşiktaş are taking a lot of blue zone damage. Tomo going to be going down and out as they look for more Lux. The only remaining member of Beşiktaş left alive, facing off against, I believe, 2 of the members of 7, or rather just 1, and he's able to find it. The bookend victories come out. Tomo able to close out the game. Beşiktaş, huge chicken dinner in game number 10.
They bookend today, opening with a win, ending with the win. It may not have been as dynamic of a day for them, like overall, but still finishing off with a nice win. It should be a decent amount of kills as well for them.
I love how Tomo on screen right now. You couldn't hear what he said, but he was saying, guys, come on, we're going to the couch with Mustache Dave. Like, they know what to do when they win a game, okay? It's their second of the day. But a good game nonetheless. Kind of a difficult game. These Erangel matches, we thought the Miramar matches weren't that friendly. Erangel definitely wasn't.
So yeah, absolutely not. 2 military games in a row reminds me of North America. So Reciprocity, they had a solid lead coming into this last game, but after their, significantly less successful game this time around, Beşiktaş with this win, I'm not confident they're going to take first back, but it's going to make first and second position very, very close. And it's going to set us up for a nice rivalry for the second half of this event.
You know what's still on my mind, Cameron?
What?
That massive nade coming in from Haksede.
Oh, yeah.
On the military base. I don't think we saw a replay of it. Hopefully we have it in a package somewhere. But I think the biggest nade, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think the biggest nade of the tournament so far.
Yeah, it's got to be. I think he got
it was 3 or 4.
He got at least 2 of them.
At that moment, he had 4 kills.
He had 4 kills. So I think 2 of them were knocks that were... Anyway, enough about that. But that's actually... Actually, let's touch on that real quick. Even though Reciprocity went out earlier this game, they actually still picked up a number of kills. And so even their bad games, they're getting a good amount of points. And that is what you need. You can't just rely on single big point games.
No.
Your bad games, you still want to try and collect at least 4 points as like a minimum baseline.
And we saw that yesterday from not just Reciprocity, but also Zoekt and Naam.
Yeah.
They had 14 kills, I believe. They were outside of placement points, kind of stuck on the cliff. They all just denied themselves to the blue zone. They said, guys, we're content with what we picked up here in this game. And that's the smart move to make. It's a point race, and it continues to be that through day number 2. With 2 more days on the books, Cameron, I think we're going to start to see at least things ramp up tomorrow.
We're also going to see another interview once again with, of course, Beşiktaş.